Hey everyone, thanks for joining Sober AF Entertainment. My name is Duke Rumley. I'm the executive director of Sober AF Entertainment. We create safe spaces and fun places. I got my good friend Rob Archuleta, who has got some really cool things going on in Pueblo, and I wanted to have him on to tell us what's going on in Pueblo and how people can reach out to you, Rob, with Addict Athletes or some of the other cool recovery support you have in Pueblo. So, if you would be so kind, tell us a little bit about what you got going on.
Yeah, my wife runs Addict II Athlete, and I'll give some information about that. I
Right.
work for Crossroads as the Chief Innovation Officer. So we do everything from intervention early in, well, we actually start with prevention. We do prevention, intervention, treatment, and then recovery at Crossroads. And so we have like kind of this whole full continuum of care for people, or hopefully we get them in the prevention where they never come in. So we actually go in. We have a younger instructor that's hip, cool. She's shares a little bit about her story. She's a prevention educator. She goes into the high schools and really just teaches a curriculum that's evidence based, but really just talking about other things. Like, instead of talking about the dangers of drugs and alcohol, which we have had pounded down our, it's been pounded in the minds of our
Right.
juveniles, and we can't say anything they can't Google anyway, right? They've
True.
already Googled it. And so they're Googling it while you're telling them,
Right.
they're like, this guy's lying. And so what Kaylee is, the prevention educator, what she does is she goes in and she talks about things that apply that they might not be able to Google or think about, like how is the media affecting their perception of drugs and alcohol, communication, self-esteem, all of these things that tie into why people would drink anyway, and the power of social media
Right.
and social norms that social media set, and what's real and what's not. You know what I mean? And so that's what Kaylee does with teens. And it's we go in the middle schools and the high schools, but our demographic is like 13 to 18.
And they might listen at that age, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Once you get above like that 16 years, it's really hard for them to listen to what's going on.
Well, right. And the cool thing I think about Crossroads in general, and what they do in prevention, is nobody's trying to do the DARE program. We're not saying like, if you drink or smoke marijuana, you're going to, it's not the ABC after school special, I'm going to scare you to death, right?
Right.
It's saying like, hey, there's a perception that all teens drink. There's a perception that all teens do drugs. But statistically, don't buy that because it's not true. Here's the true facts of how many do. Here's the true statistics. And most successful teens don't get involved in that stuff. And here's the facts and statistics. And then just talking about why you would do that. What's your self-esteem like? How do you communicate with others? What's your perception of social norms? Like, what's your perception of what's real and what's not? And so I think when you talk about that stuff, which is indirectly related to substance abuse or drug and alcohol use, you kind of are like Jedi mind tricking them into talking about it, right? You're talking about it, but you're not talking about it. And I think that is true prevention, is talking about the things that lead you there.
So, Rob, there's no money in abstinence, right?
Yeah,
All the money
yeah,
is in the consumption component of this.
yeah,
So I love this because, we live in Colorado, which was the first state to legalize marijuana medically and for recreational use. We don't have a limit on how strong the weed can be. So you drive down the road and there's billboard signs up, and it appears that everyone is smoking weed in Colorado. And we know, A, it's not the case, but like, how do we get this word out to that age group? It's a really tough demographic because, they have heard about don't do drugs, you go schizo, to the kind of the other extreme, thinking they're the weirdo if they're not doing drugs or doing ecstasy.
yeah. Well, I think, yeah, and you're hitting it right. When you say there's no money in abstinence, it's insane to think about that, right? And it's hard to measure the success of prevention. If I teach people how to swim, I can't say they didn't drown, so I have a 99% success rate, and then
Right.
people will fund me, because you
Right.
don't know if prevention worked or not. And
Right.
so without that, without those hard facts, without that data, but this is the cool thing about the grant that we have. is the Office of Behavioral Health has given us this grant, and we're working with OBH, and they acknowledge that prevention education is going to keep people out of treatment. So working in the realm of prevention has been amazing. I started as a prevention educator and have worked my way into the treatment field. But like I said, even now, with my education and working on a PhD in advanced study in human behavior, when you look at that, no matter what the human behavior is, whether it's an eating disorder, drug and alcohol addiction, pornography addiction, prevention is key. Setting the standards, the boundaries, and having our teens understand what is truly normal, what is socially acceptable, may not always be what is the right or healthy thing for them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And what's the CPS after your name now? You're CPS level 2.
Yeah, so it's Certified Prevention Specialist. So it's a specific certification tied to prevention. The CAC3 is actually changing, but it's Certified Addictions Counselor level 3. And my master's is in criminology. But having a Certified Prevention Specialist also is showing that we are certified. We're using evidence-based curriculum, evidence-based practices. That way we're just not in there winging it. Like, we're using things that these curriculums, we use this one called Project Towards No Drugs, another one called Life Skills. And just, you could tell by the names of those, life skills. It's not drugs are dangerous. Do you know what I mean? It's life skills. Project Towards No Drugs, it kind of talks about the dangers of drugs and alcohol, but it really just talks about like what's right for them. You know what I mean? And like, our teens now are 20 times smarter, or at least more educated than we were back in the day. So.
Yeah, the stuff that I believe that wasn't true is ridiculous. And to your point, like, my kids are always texting me like, no, that wasn't true. Like, that's changed.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, I love what you're doing in Pueblo. If somebody wants to learn more about this, what's the best way for them to find out what you're doing?
Yeah, so one of the best ways is just go to the crossroadstp.org website. So it's Crossroads TP as in turning points, which is Crossroads Turning Points, crossroadstp.org. And it has a little bit about everything: our withdrawal management services, which is detox, outpatient treatment, residential treatment, all the way to recovery and sober living homes. So we try to offer like this whole full spectrum, like anything that somebody could need to stay in recovery or maintain abstinence, we try to offer that.
Awesome. Well, Pueblo is lucky to have you, Rob. Good job.
Thanks.
We look forward to doing some sober support events in person again when we're allowed to. So really excited about doing that, and love what you're doing in Pueblo, and look forward to doing some stuff together in Pueblo.
Yeah, for sure. And I just want to say, what you're doing, we just talked about it. We're doing the impossible, trying to make abstinence seem cool. You know what I mean? And I think you are doing that. I mean, there are kids doing pretty awesome stuff out there, that are writing music, that are creating art, and they're doing it without mind-altering substances. We have the teens that come to my wife's program, Addict II Athlete, and these are kids that, even though the name is Addict II Athlete, shows a transition, it's morphed into some prevention where teens are coming in, they're working out, they're developing healthy habits and learning coping skills through exercise. And I think there also is this wave of being abstinent. Like, back when there was one group, it was the straight edge punk rock kids. And they were like, we're sober, but we also hate you, and we're going to try to beat your ass, right? Totally different. And so now, but there's this one thing I love about this youth, and I was just talking about this, is our youth are mashed up. Like, there's no punkers and rappers and heavy metal and headbangers and wavers. Everything's a mashup. They listen to Taylor Swift, and they listen to Arcade Fire. They listen to Tech Nine, and they listen to, whoever else is out there, Imagine Dragons, right? So these kids are mashed up, and because they're mashed up, and I just said this in another interview not that long ago, is they're all in the same crayon box. And these teens support each other no matter the socioeconomic background, no matter their education level, no matter what group they come from. These teens, once they are like-minded, they support each other and they fight for each other. And that's why the work you're doing is so extremely important, to keep these kids off of drugs, to keep them out of alcohol, and to develop these supports. Because once these teens, they do something different, like they create a family of choice. They create family that they choose, and they create a tribe, and they stay with their own tribe. And so you assisting with creating these cool sober tribes is pretty awesome.
Oh, thanks. So I totally get what you're saying, because this generation doesn't believe that they all have to be the same. Like, being different is cool. And this idea of, being the only one at sober at an event is not so crazy if they can find one or two other people.
Yep.
Right. And that's what we're trying to do, is have like this sober wingman meetup before or during a music festival or a concert or a sporting event. So,
yeah. And what a powerful common denominator to be like, I just met you, Duke, but I'm sober and I'm at the Skrillex concert. You're sober, you're at the Skrillex concert, or we're at an EDM festival, we're both sober. I mean, that is because we know one thing drugs and alcohol do is give you a false sense of intimacy. Right. I'm rolling, you're rolling, we're both on Molly, and we're both playing with glow sticks. And then there's that false sense of intimacy. This is true companionship, true intimacy, true connection. When you're at an EDM festival and you're both sober and dancing like you're on drugs, but you're sober, that connection is way more powerful, and they last a lifetime.
Right. Dude, just you saying Skrillex music festival, I get all dopamine up. Like, my brain gets all happy. Like, yes, I cannot wait.
We need live music so bad. I mean, it's hard. I try watching these people performing their live concerts from drive-ins or from their living room. It's not the same. You want to be at the concert. You want to be screaming and acting crazy. Plus, I like to blend in with the crowd. I don't want to accidentally get a video of somebody my age dancing,
Right.
So, but we need live music for sure. It's going to be exciting to have it.
It's coming.
Yeah.
So we'll hopefully have some big announcements with some sober safe zones that need some volunteers in the next coming weeks. So I would love to work with you and find some cool stuff to do in Pueblo or Colorado Springs or something in the area that we can set up a sober safe section, and then a sober section inside the venue would be really fun.
All right, we'll work on it. I'll try to make some contacts for you, and let's keep connecting.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, man. Talk to you later.
Appreciate you.
Okay.